Hello sewing friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm wondering if you might be looking for an easy, inexpensive, but classy gift to give someone or to keep for yourself. Welcome to So Darn Fun. I'm Carrie and today I'm going to show you how to make this $3 pair of gloves into something very high-end by adding a piece of nice faux fur to the cuff. These are very rich looking, make a great gift, and honestly, you might want to keep a pair for yourself. The best part of this is that you don't even need a sewing machine. In fact, some of the steps, I prefer a needle and thread. So let's start this project so you can get to making yours. Here's what you're going to need. A pair of knit gloves. I'm going to link what I used in the description below. I'll try to show a picture up here so you can visually see what it looked like. And I got 3 pairs for like, I don't know, $7. They were under $3 a pair. And the ad says they're alpaca. I don't know if it's 100% alpaca wool, but it says alpaca and they feel lovely. They're also touch screen. They have the forefinger and the thumb with the touch screen fiber and it does work. I used it, so that is really convenient in today's need to use technology. And I can imagine how warm these are gonna keep my hands. Oh, if I keep them, they're supposed to be for a gift. You're also gonna need 2 strips of faux fur, and those strips are going to be 9.5 by 4 inches. Make sure that your fur pets down. It's like petting a cat. The fur only goes nicely one way. Like this, so that your 9-inch portion needs to pet down. I happen to have leftover fur in my studio from other projects, but if you don't have leftover fur, I'm gonna link something that could be a good option for you. I don't know that I would go the craft fur route because that's really, really thin and it's gonna be very sparse unless that's the look that you're wanting. But when I did a search for faux fur, that's pretty much what I came up with until I searched for like Viking fur cape or something, and you can buy those for, I don't know, I think it was like $20-ish, but you'd be able to get several out of these, and those furs looked a whole lot nicer. They looked like real animal fur rather than just being a flat color. So that would be something I'd check into if I was you. Oh, of course, you can find these things at possibly your local fabric store if you have one anymore. But if you decide to use the Amazon links, please know that I am an Amazon associate. I do get a small commission if you use those links, but please do not feel obligated at all to do that. I'm just trying to show you an easy way to get some of these things. Of course, you're going to need scissors, thread, needle, the normal sewing stuff, but nothing fancy. Let's talk for a second about cutting fur. Now, when you cut fur, you want to draw your shape on the back and just cut the backing. Now, I happen to have this really handy-dandy little seam ripper that's kind of like a scalpel, and I can just kind of scrape it along the back and it cuts the backing. And you can see here that it just separates. That fur just separates. Now you could also use a razor blade if you happen to be handy with that, or a craft knife or something like that. Also, if that's not an option, take a pair of scissors. And the secret to this is sliding it under the pile of the fur and just kind of snipping the backing, making sure that you shove that lower blade kind of in between the fibers so you can get a good cut. All right, now there's a reason that you don't want to just cut through it with a pair of shears, just chopping it, and this is why. You're going to get a lot of peel off, but then you're going to get this chunked up edge that looks rather like a bad haircut. That's not what you're looking for. So cut your fur from the back and you'll get a really nice edge. So before we get to sewing these cuffs together, I want you to take each fur strip and lay them down. And on the edge that's the top, you're going to quarter it. Keep in mind we've got a 1/4 inch seam allowances, and all this, when you sew this together, if you're off by a smidge, it does not matter. So what I want you to do is just find the center point, and then from the center point to the right and to the left, mark about 2 1/8, 2 1/4 inches from that, and then you're gonna be golden with your marks. These are gonna help you to line it up with the cuff so that you don't have too much stretch of the cuff in one area than the other, because your cuff is going to stretch over this. So once you've got that done, take it to the machine. If you're gonna use a machine, fold it in half so the short ends are together and the fur side faces itself. So fur side touches fur, and you're gonna stitch that short 4-inch seam with approximately a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Once you get those short ends sewn together, you're going to take what you consider to be the bottom. This is not going to be the edge that you marked, it's going to be the opposite edge. You're going to fold that to the wrong side about 1/2 inch. Now this, I would recommend, is a must for hand sewing, and it did not take long to do this. This is your hem, so that it gives a nice edge on this area right here. This is folded under with my little hem. We're gonna just kind of whip that hem all the way around. It takes almost no time at all. Do that to both cuffs, and then your cuff is now ready to sew onto your glove. Before you put it on your glove though, mark your glove 4 places so that you can line your cuff up with it. So the easiest way to do this is just to lay your cuff flat, mark the edges that are folded, and then touch those sides together and mark the other edges, and then you've got your 4 points to line your cuff up with. So I want you to turn your cuff right side out if it is not already, and then you're just going to pat all the fur down and hold it while you shove it inside your glove. Now it's going to take a little bit of work to kind of keep combing those fur fibers down, and then pin the 4 markings that you made. Match it up to the glove and then put a pin in so that you can hold it. The glove is going to stretch to fit over your fur. The next step was almost impossible for me to do by machine because my fur was so dense that I did break a needle. I'm not going to show that to you, so I just opted to come up with a way to hand sew it on. So I preferred it this way. So you'll see how I've taken a piece of thread and I've just started I did like one whip over the edge and then would do a straight stitch. I don't know if there's a name for this or not. If there's a name for this, leave it in the comments. Maybe, I don't know, I just kind of made it up. I just felt that it would hold the edges together securely and would also give maybe a little bit of stretch if it needed to stretch. And I don't know, it just worked well for me. And I got the fur sewn on in no time. And I found the result doing it this way to actually be very, very good. Once you've got this step done, it is finished. So pull that fur cuff out and fold it over your glove, and voila, you have a very, very nice looking fancy glove. So now you can congratulate yourself on making something very classy that any fancy girl would love to get, and it would be such a wonderful, wonderful gift. The problem for me is, which one am I going to keep for myself? Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments who you're going to make gloves for, or are you going to keep them for yourself? If you enjoyed this video, you might like to watch this video here. So I'll see you next time on So Darn Fun. After all, every girl deserves to feel bougie every once in a while. Don't you think?